Hello, welcome to Chapter 15, Ethics in the Workplace for Technical Writing. So we're going to start out by discussing what it means to act ethically. We're going to talk about cultures of ethics. We're going to develop a plan for resolving an ethical dilemma. And we're going to identify barriers to ethical behavior. So what prevents ethical behavior? And finally, we're going to debate the ethical challenges of emerging technology. So let's go ahead and get started. What is ethics? Ethics is going to be your system of moral standards and rules that is going to guide your behavior. Ethics is typically based on each individual person's values and their ideals. So a lot of people do have similar values, believing in honesty, justice, and equality, for example, but a lot of people have differing values. Values help people set principles, which in turn guide their behavior. There are benefits of acting ethically. It helps a person live amicably and responsibly with others. So, another benefit of ethical decisions, it keeps your conscience clear and it provides a peace of mind to you as a person. And it also defines a person's character. There are consequences of unethical behavior, so risk negative consequences of questionable reputations, possible convictions, feelings of guilt, and it does affect people outside of the individual. It can affect the individual's family members, member of a society who must deal with consequences, co-workers, etc. Now, a healthy work environment, ethical issues can contribute to a toxic work environment. So things like fraud. Businesses lose 5% of their annual revenue to fraud. 26% of infractions are committed by upper level managers. It also does create an inhospitable and discriminatory environment, and it can have inappropriate online behavior. Ethical leaders will positively impact the climate of your organization, and it does create a more ethical climate. So employees who perceive their leaders as moral and ethical, they feel less pressure to make ethical compromises or bad decisions. They observe less misconduct on the job. They're more satisfied with their organization, and they do feel more valued as an employee. So, a code of ethics. An organization should publish a code of ethics, which is a written pledge in order to make responsible moral decisions. Most corporate codes express core values: integrity, fairness, respect, as well as values specific to the planet in which that organization functions. So, such code of ethics, they aim to protect the company, the people, the public. Ideally, it is enforceable within the organization, and it can include penalties such as termination of employment. If you are to write a code of ethics, likely it's going to be a collaborative effort. It's not just one person that's going to do this. If you are going to be part of this type of team, consider your personal code of ethics, core values that you're passionate about. What lessons have you learned from it? What has shaped your ethics? Also consider the company's values, the kind of ethical conflicts your company faces, and how the company wants to treat employees and customers or clients. So, what do you do if you're faced with an ethical dilemma? The best approach is to prevent it in the first place. So, acting appropriately, talking over decisions with people that you trust, following your personal values, knowing and following the values held by your organization. Please know that a feeling of discomfort, that's going to be your first sign that you may not be making the best decision and that you are facing an ethical dilemma. So, to clarify your position, ask yourself some of these questions. Would my actions be legal? Have I thought through the process and the consequences of what may come about because of my actions? How uncomfortable am I? What central conflict do I face? Is there an obvious solution? Next, you can analyze your ethical dilemma. If a course of action does not present itself early in your thought process, here are some tips that you can do in order to do the analysis. Take time and think about what is happening. Examine the facts. Clarify your goals, both short-term and long-term, and how does that align with this decision. Talk to someone you trust. And finally, review your company's code of ethics. Some other things that you can do are talk to legal counsel, listen to your conscience, explore alternatives, and then finally, choose an alternative. Choose a responsible course of action. So consider rights. Will my actions infringe on the rights and dignity of others? Consider justice. Are my actions fair and just? Consider utility. Will my actions affect most people in the best possible way? Consider care. Do my actions show that I care about and am considerate of others? And then finally, consider empathy. Have I asked myself what it would feel like to be in another's shoes? Consider consistency. Is my decision consistent with other things that I've done before? Consider my values and principles. Do my actions reflect the values and principles that I follow? Consider universal consequences. What would happen if everyone performed the same action? And finally, consider extenuating circumstances. Are there unusual circumstances to take into account? When do you blow the whistle? So, a whistleblower is a person who is going to bring about allegations to an organization on wrongful practices. So, if you are going to be a whistleblower takes courage and persistence and conviction. It is risky. Whistleblowing can be very, very risky. So laws do protect whistleblowers from retribution from their employers, but fighting for that protection can often be a long, messy, and stressful process. If you are thinking about blowing the whistle, think through the situation. And finally, seek the advice of an attorney who specializes in whistleblowing in your field. Why is it so difficult to behave ethically? So ethics are more easily compromised under certain conditions. Okay? Illegal activities are more likely to occur in larger companies than smaller companies. People feel that protection of being just one of the crowd. Like, illegal activities are more common when resources abound rather than when they are lacking. They're not going to see this one thing go missing. Illegal activities take place during times of change and growth before a company has had a chance to examine their ethical principles. And illegal activities occur in certain industries in which wrongdoing creates a climate of complicity. So nobody cares. There is no retribution. It's going to happen again. Other conditions affecting illegal behavior are things like pressure to achieve management objectives. Legal is not the same as ethical. So when enlightened and passionate people stand up for just causes, laws eventually catch up to ethics. Fear and uncertainty undermine choice. Moral dilemmas do not always have an easy, clear-cut solution. People use defense mechanisms to avoid facing uncomfortable feelings of guilt. So, things like bandwagon. Everyone else is doing it. Why shouldn't I? Denial. It's not that bad. Rationalization or excuses. A false sense of security. Who is going to know? Stress. Cloud your judgment. Revenge. Fight a perceived injustice. And finally, blame. It's not my fault. Finally, ethical challenges of emerging technology. Technology is one of the greatest change agents in the world, and probably the fastest. So to implement new technology responsibly, we must investigate each innovation and debate the possible consequences and the implications. Technologies with ethical implications, some of the things you may have heard in the news: gene therapy, electronic surveillance, AI, or an artificial intelligence. So hopefully this has brought your attention to some ethical challenges that we have when writing responsibly and being able to make those ethical decisions. As always, I'm available by email, and I will see you next time.